Hi everybody. I'm going to wait till a few more people get here and then we'll get started on tonight's video. I don't actually know, you know what, I got a new light for when I'm doing these videos and I don't know if I can see if anyone's here. Oh yeah, I see people here. Hi guys, my name is Em, or Amelia, and I'm a contributor to Which Way magazine, and I'm doing a Facebook Live this evening on smudging your house, which is something that's really important to me. And as usual, I have some distractions. I have a cat playing, Bisou, hey. She's, my kitten is playing with some bubble wrap that she found. Don't leave bubble wrap around when you have a kitten. And so again, we're gonna talk about my home. Oh hi Maggie. And when I smudged my home, when I bought the home, and this came up for me because a girlfriend of mine called me last week and said she's just purchased a new home and she'd like me to come and smudge it for her. And by no means am I an expert on smudging at all, but I did have I've always had a strong connection to the energies in my home. So, oh, I'm sorry, I have to take this home. Bisou, don't do that. This is my kitty, Bisou. Say hi. Yeah, not happy. But I have to take this bubble wrap away from her. You can have it later. Sorry. Sorry, guys. So anyway, hola. So anyway, a girlfriend of mine, as I was saying, asked me to come and smudge her home for her that she's just purchased. And she's moving in June 8th, so I'm going to go and do that. And again, as I said, I'm not the expert on smudging at all, but energy in the home is really important to me. So I'm really excited to go and smudge her home for a few reasons, which we'll get into. Hi, thanks everyone for saying hi, and please pop up and type any questions or any ideas or any comments that you have. I'm always really excited to be chatting with all of you. It's like I have a whole new group of friends every time I get to do a Facebook Live. So thank you so much, Which Way Magazine, for letting me do this video this evening. And you'll know me from doing the Fit Witch articles, amongst others, that I have the opportunity to write for Which Way Magazine. But you'll also know me for this beautiful bar behind me, because I usually do a video which involves a cocktail. So while we're talking about smudging my home and my girlfriend's home coming up, I'm going to be drinking this. Now the label's going to be backwards, I don't know how to change that. Pastis. Can you see that? There we go. I'm going to be drinking pastis. Now, pastis is a French liqueur, and it's really, really awesome, and there's a few reasons that I've chosen to drink this evening, and that's because it's sort of the time of year where I like to do a detox, which I've done a few weeks ago, and we ran our first race on the weekend. My fiance and I like to do some runs. He likes to do them. I don't really like to do them, but I do them anyway. And the reason that I'm drinking pastis is that I'm kind of trying to keep my alcohol consumption to a bare minimal, and the other thing I'm trying to keep low in my diet right now is sodium. And so every time you mix up a cocktail that has any sparkling water or something, you're getting an overdose of sodium. And when the weather is changing at this time of year, because I'm up here in Canada, I tend to crave a lot of salt, so I'm just trying to be good. And pastis is a really unique way of mixing, and it's really, really calming to the stomach. So the video keeps cutting off. Will you let me know if it keeps doing it, and I can maybe try it from my iPhone? Thank you for letting me know. Oh, I see that. Yeah, my internet is being a little weird here this evening. Maybe I should just turn it off on my phone. Okay, let me know if the video keeps cutting off. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully it works itself out. So, this evening I'm going to pour myself some pastis, P-A-S-T-I-S, which is a French anise liqueur. Is the video working? Everybody give me a thumbs up if you can see me and it's working okay, if you don't mind. Nobody's responding, so I'm just going to keep going and hope that it keeps working. So here's my cup. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. Video's working. I'm using a clear glass. This is kind of a tasting glass. I always like to talk about glassware. I think it's really important, and I love sort of vintage glassware. So thanks for the thumbs up, guys. Let me know if the video's a bit sketchy. But this glassware is appropriate for sort of whiskey tasting traditionally. But you know, you could really drink wine out of it. But the way that it's shaped like this allows for the bouquet to kind of stay, the bouquet of the spirit or the wine to stay in the glass, so that when you go to get the aroma, you really get a lot out of your senses from using a glass like this. So it's kind of like an ISO glass. And an error message. You know what? Sorry if you guys are getting errors. Maybe I should stop and start over. Should I do that? Or try and do it from my iPhone? Is the video working, guys? Can you, can everyone let me know? I'm gonna try and maybe connect on my iPhone here. Sorry, we're talking about alcohol and not getting to the drinking yet. So let's see if I can start over. Let's see. Okay, if you keep cutting out, I am going to end this now, and then I'm going to start it again in yes, it's working, or yes, it's not working. I don't want to. Getting working, okay. If I don't mind. Okay, you know what? I'm going to, thank you. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. I kind of live in the middle of nowhere, and it's threatening to storm here right now, so it is possible that the internet would be a little bit spotty here, so I apologize for that. But let's get to drinking. I'm glad you can hear me. That's good to know. Thank you. So, pastis, really, really beautiful packaging. French liqueur. This guy, I'm going to show you one more time. Sorry that it's backwards. Pastis is absolutely one of my favorite drinks to enjoy. And I was talking about glassware before, and I'm going to have it in this glass for a few reasons, because I want you to be able to see what happens when I make this cocktail, and it's super easy and it's incredible. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 part pastis and 5 parts water. Very simple. So as I was saying before, it's sort of the time of year where I don't want to be having all of the calories from wine, you know, too many nights a week, because I really do enjoy drinking wine. But you know, I'll stick to having wine maybe 2 to 3 nights a week, 1 glass, and I don't really want to have too many cocktails because I want to keep my sugar intake low. And it's just the time of year where I try to be a little bit healthy and spend lots of time outdoors in the garden, etc. So pastis is an anise flavored, or a licorice sort of style of liqueur from France that started in 1932, and you mix just water with it. So I'm going to put 1 part pastis in here, just a little bit. That's probably about 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces of pastis. This is the exciting part when I get the water. Watch what happens to the pastis when I add water. It's so cool. Looks like I'm drinking a glass of milk. It gets super cloudy. It's so beautiful. Look at how cool that is. Like, it basically turned into milk. So pastis is, I'll take some photos of this after as well so you can see the true color. I don't know if I can put something behind it. Nope, not really. Anyway, it is actually this. It kind of turns really, really milky, and you can have it with ice, but a lot of people, including myself, prefer just to have it with water. So it's really, really quite cool. Louching. I don't think I know what that means. But teach me that word, if you don't mind. So anyway, cheers. We're going to have a little bit of pastis, and then I'll talk about the history of pastis, and then about smudging my home and my girlfriend's home. It's got such a sweet, natural, real licorice root flavor. So it's not too sweet to begin with, but it hits sort of the front of your tongue, and then it just settles really nicely in your mouth, and it's mixed with water, so you're not getting lots of sodium. It is a liqueur, so it is bottled using sugar, but pastis is just It's one of the most beautiful, like simple liqueurs you can ingest. And originally in 1932, it was created by a man who was working in France to sort of deal with the lack of availability of absinthe in the market. And absinthe was banned during the first prohibition, and then it never really was allowed to come back because of the wormwood content in it. Now, wormwood is an herb that it was used in absinthe, and it's sort of a, if you drink too much wormwood, or really drink any, it's, what does it do to your mind? It makes you see things. It's not just a drunken state. It's almost like a state that you're on, almost like on a drug, in a drug state. I don't know the proper word for it. My English isn't working very well currently. Sorry about that. It's been a weird day. Anybody else have days like that where you're just kind of a weirdo? I was in a business suit all day in meetings, and that's not my comfort zone. My comfort zone is my garden and with my animals. So sorry about that. Anyway, we're talking about wormwood and pastis. So wormwood is a really interesting root or an herb that causes sort of crazy visualizations. They call it the green fairy. It causes more than a drunken state, and that's what's in absinthe. Now, pastis was created so that the French could have a similar liqueur or a similar experience without sort of the hallucinations, really, that absinthe can create. So pastis is natural. It's totally okay, and it's really, really nice and calming for the stomach as well, being an anise or licorice flavor. And the difference between a pastis and an anise is that pastis uses star anise and a licorice root flavor, whereas absinthe is going to use a green anise, which is why it's called the green fairy. So it's green. And it's just such a really simple, this is a great, great spirit, and it's really not that expensive to buy a big bottle of this liqueur. And so it's a great cocktail to use on a hot day because you use cold water with it. You can make it into a cocktail with ice as well. Oh yeah, Lausch. Yeah. So Maggie has just written, Lausch is the resulting oil and water emulsion that occurs when water is added to certain spirits, particularly those flavored with anise, resulting in a milky appearance, which is totally correct. Thank you for that. I didn't know the word Lausch. So that's exactly what happens, is that there's basically an absence of reaction here. So the oil creates a cloud because it doesn't dissolve into the water. So it's totally, totally gorgeous. Yes, the ouzo effect, exactly. So a lot of different licorice flavored or anise style liqueurs came out at that time, including ouzo and of course pastis, and then absinthe. You can purchase absinthe today. It's very expensive, and you usually get it in a 375 ml bottle. This is a 750 ml or 2.6. This is 26 ounces, depending on where you want to do your math. So anise comes in smaller portions, and you do different things. You add sugar to anise absinthe when you do that, and it can be heated. There's absinthe spouts are really beautiful. Oh my god, my English is just terrible today. The setup for consuming absinthe is really, really beautiful, and involves a little bit of heat and a little bit of sugar and water, and it's quite an experience. But pastis is very simple, very classy, and it just involves simply your pastis, your cold water, and sometimes a little bit of ice. So, it's one interesting fact about pastis I learned today. 130, what am I saying? I can't read my own writing, but I wrote some notes on this. More than 2 liters per person per year in France is consumed of pastis. So it's very, very common to be drunk in France, and not very common here at all. Whenever I ask my friends if they want to come over for some pastis, they have no idea what I'm talking about. So, so anyway, it's a real treat to share with your friends. Not very expensive. Anise comes in a smaller container portion, so 375 ml typically, and anise, why do I keep saying anise? Absinthe comes in a smaller portion in a 375 ml, and absinthe is usually 45 to 75% alcohol, whereas pastis is going to be about 40 to 50% alcohol. So super healthy as far as a liqueur goes. It does have sugar and alcohol, But if you consider that amongst all the other drinks that you could be consuming that have alcohol in them, pastis is really nice. So let's get to another sip, and then we'll talk about smudging, because it's really important. Has everybody smudged your homes before? Let me know if you've your experience with smudging as well. So I bought this home 3 years ago in 2014, and the people that lived in this home previous to me were here for about 15 years, and they really, really loved the home. And it was built in 1905, which for Canada, for a home to be over 100 years old, that's it's not common, because there was 2 wars that happened, and there wasn't a lot of technology for keeping homes warm. And if there was technology for keeping homes warm, it caused a lot of fires. So a lot of old homes have burnt down over the years, and basically they're just not standing. The weather here is brutal. We have really brutal winters. It's freezing cold, and it's really challenging to have materials last a really long time in Western Canada with our weather here. So we don't build out of brick like they do in Eastern Canada. Everything here is built out of wood, and that's because wood is what was available here. Transporting brick from the East Coast was very, very expensive. So there are some brick homes here, but and those are sort of the type of homes that last forever. But again, so for my home being built in 1905, it's made of wood, and it's got a basement, which is unusual for a home of that age as well. Most homes built around that time don't have basements, and if they do, it's sort of an unfinished dirt floor, which is really hard to get insured. So I do have a basement here, and I've got a furnace, and I'm nice and warm and toasty in the winter. And the home has a really interesting history. So when I first was looking at this home with my realtor, I didn't know how I felt. When I walked in to the home, I knew it was beautiful, and I knew that I loved it, but I didn't really know if it was sort of the home for me. I didn't know if I was welcome here, and that's just because the energy was confused. The owners of the home had left it empty. They had moved overseas, and it had been sitting empty for months, and it's had a lot happen in this home. This is one of 3 homes that were in this town in the year 1905. So it had just an interesting energy, and I felt like the home itself, like the energy in the home was a bit confused, because its owners, its people weren't here anymore, and so I put an offer in right away. I knew that I loved the home, and I thought, well, I'll deal with it, and if the spirits here, the energy here doesn't want me here, then I'll have to make a deal. So the first day that I received the keys to the home, I was actually working all day, and I was working with the CEO of our company until about 10 p.m. on a team building event. So it was my realtor met me at 10 p.m. and he gave me the keys, and I drove out to the country where this home is, and then by the time I got here, it was midnight. So I didn't have anything to unpack. I had nothing ready, but I just wanted to get into this home, and so I brought my sage and a candle and some matches, and I decided to smudge the home. So what I did was I took this sage bundle, this very same one, right here, and I purchased this. I didn't make it myself. I purchased it, but it still smells amazing. And this is the sage bundle that I'm going to use in a couple of weeks when I go and smudge my girlfriend's home for her. And all I did was I maybe did it a little bit differently or unconventionally, but I took it's got a little bit of clover in here. Can you see that? It's so pretty. So I took the sage bundle and I lit it, and then I went into every room of the house. Hi, Pamela. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. Sorry about the technological challenges earlier and my language challenges. So I took the sage while it was burning, and I basically smudged every corner of every room and every corner of the property. And this was at midnight, and I do believe in sort of the power of the middle of the night, and I know that my energy is high at that hour, and I know that I feel more spiritual in the middle of the night, so it kind of worked out well that I showed up to the home to smudge it at midnight. So I lit this, and And I went with a really strong intention with my sage. So I left the candle burning in a bowl, actually, a glass bowl, in the middle of the bar room, which is where we are right now. And I took the sage first out to the back corner of the backyard, and I smudged every corner of the backyard, and I smudged it for protection. And I said, you know, I want to clear any negative spirits, and I want the spirits that controlled this part of the property to protect me, because I was going to be living here alone. And so when I came back in the house, I smudged the back porch, and I smudged the back porch again for security. And then I went through to the front porch, and I went to every corner of the front porch, and I let the smoke blow into the corners of the porches, and I smudged them for security. So I have a greenhouse out back as well, and I went back around the side of the house, and I went to the greenhouse, and I smudged it for growth and for nourishment. So I was hoping that I'd be able to grow some really beautiful plants in there, and that they would help nourish me and my friends and my family, which has come to fruition. I came back into the kitchen, and I smudged the kitchen with the intention of good health and longevity. And I went into the bathrooms. There's 2 bathrooms, and one has been here since the early 1900s, so about 1910, 1914. But of course there was no running water, so I do have the original cast iron clawfoot tub, and it's beautiful. So I went into the bathrooms and I smudged them for health and for beauty, and not really beauty in a vain way, but beauty in a way that it's good energy, and that, you know, whoever comes into those bathrooms and looks at themselves in the mirror loves themselves and feels beautiful. So then I went into the bedrooms, and there's 2 bedrooms. And a nursery, actually, but I changed the nursery into a closet, so because this home doesn't have any closets, it was built too early in time. So I went into the bedrooms, and I smudged them for rest. And I don't keep anything in my bedroom. I just have my bed. I don't keep clothes in there. I have very limited art. I don't keep stuff in my bedroom. I don't have a television in the house at all. And, I mean, I have an iPad, obviously, because I'm chatting with you guys on it. But it was really important to me that I smudged the energy into the bedrooms, and let the smoke sort of fill the rooms with restful sleep and peace, because I think it's really important to not have clutter going through your mind when you sleep. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a really, really active dreamer. So when I get up in the morning, I don't need any clutter in my bedroom. I've already had so many experiences in my dreams. So I smudged my front foyer for welcome, for a welcome energy. And then I went into the parlor or the living room, and I smudged it for good communication, which I thought was, which I love that came to me, because I wanted people to feel comfortable, and I wanted no uncomfortable silences in my parlor. I wanted people to come in and sit down and have a glass of champagne with me and talk for hours and hours and hours and smile. And finally I came into the bar room here, and this room was, it has had a little bit of remodeling done to the ceiling, but otherwise it's a really interesting room, because this would have traditionally been the dining room. And so now it is where I keep a dining room table, but what was most important to me here was to have a bar. So I actually smudged this room for creativity, and I wanted anyone to come in here to look at my bar and to love this room and the vintage wallpaper, and I wanted people to feel welcome and creative and open to trying new things in here, like, you know, trying a new cocktail and having a new conversation. So the property it made me nervous, to be honest. When I smudged the whole property, I didn't feel rested. So I went down to the deep dark basement, which has really low ceilings, and I smudged it just for cleanliness. I just wanted it to be clean, and I wanted there to be positive energy in every corner of the home. And on the way home, because I didn't have any furniture here yet, after I had smudged the whole home, I took this smudging stick and I put it out, and I made sure it was completely out. I didn't douse it with water, but I waited until there was no more smoke, and I left it in a glass container in the front porch, and I locked up the home, and I went back to where I was previously living. And but on the way, I just had an overwhelming sense of like panic. I thought that I felt like I'd made a spirit in the home really upset and like I was kicking someone out. And so I did something then sort of in my mind that I continue to do today. And what I do is I mentally, I send light to every corner of the room in the house and around the property. And I send a really, really positive light. And I sort of try and remind the spirits here that I love the home and I'm always going to take care of it, and that I'm no threat, but that it is my home, and you know, we need to live respectfully. So I like to send good energy out. And I don't know if any of you have had any experiences with smudging your home. And again, I'm certainly no expert on smudging, but I feel like the white candle, similar to the one that I have lit behind me right here, was really important when I started the smudge, and really having sincere intentions when I went into every room and I let the sage smoke go into every corner of the room and then sort of cascade into the middle of it. It really created a really interesting and sort of beautiful energy, and I felt really welcome into the home until I was driving home, and then I felt nervous that something was I felt like there was something. There's a heat in the home. Something was unhappy, and that hasn't happened again since I purchased the home. But what has happened is this home has had spirits in it, and it has had, you know, people probably birthed in this home, and people coming into the world in the home, and probably had people die in this home. So I'm always really respectful of that. But this home was built for entertaining, so it was a host for the people who worked for the railway here. And so if you worked for the railway, you got to live in one of these homes. There's two of them side by side. And so the home was built for entertaining, and I feel like it's always had a really good energy. And I've often heard music. So I'll come downstairs and there's nobody here. Sometimes my brother comes home here and stays here, and I thought, oh, maybe he's watching a movie or something and he won't be here, but I'll hear music, and it's old music, old jazz music. So that's been happening for 3 years now. I'm the only one who hears it. So either I'm nuts or or it's just a little bit of a reminder that, you know, this home is a happy place and there's good energy, good music energy. So to adhere to that music energy, I bought an old record player. I was actually given one for Christmas this year. I shouldn't say I bought it. It was a gift from my fiance, and so I love to play old records here, and I just like to keep the good energy of the home going. So so moving on from my home, which has again really positive energy, but sometimes it's, hi Liza, what a cool name, I love that name. So sometimes I remind myself, or I try to remind myself, that I love the home and that it really was built for entertaining, and I love to have people over. And we do exactly what I wanted us to do when I bought the home. When I smudged the parlor, we drank champagne and we talk for hours. So it's a really positive, happy place. But it's important that I continue to maintain that by being positive and happy, and trying to take good care of myself and the home and my animals here. So how's everybody doing? Blessed be. Hi, Erin. Has anybody smudged their home before? Give me a thumbs up, or let me know in your comments if you've done it before. I'm intrigued to know, because I'd never smudged the properties I lived on before, but when I purchased the home, I really wanted to make sure that it was cleansed and that it was happy that I was there. So. Okay. So, my girlfriend called me a week ago, and she asked me to smudge her new home, and she said this home will really need smudging. And she's not too spiritual of a person. She's a very, very conservative, very calm, cool, collected woman, and I love her to death, but she's definitely not the type to talk about hearing music in her home or anything like that. So I was surprised that she came and asked me to smudge her home, and she said she asked me because she knew that I'd done my own, and a woman has passed away in the home that she just purchased. So I'm really excited to go and smudge her home and sort of suss out the energy. But I know that's something that a lot of people deal with, and I think that, you know, people have probably passed away in my home as well. I just don't know about it. There's not much history written on this property. So a woman passed away in a peaceful way in the home that she is moving into, and when I go and smudge it, I'm going to try to maybe just find out through the energy in the home if it's a welcoming energy, if the woman wants to be in the home still, or if she was sort of ready to move on, and if like how she wants to protect it. So I'm going to talk to my girlfriend about the property and what she wants to do with it, and renovations she wants to do, and things like that, and how she can maintain a good energy in the home at all times. So I'm really excited to do that with her. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the smudge stick, and I'm actually going to get her to hold the smudging sage and go into every room of the house with it. And I'm going to get her to set her intentions when she gets into the room. So not planning ahead of time. This is something that you need to feel and be connected to and be spiritual with. So I'm really excited to do that, and I'd love to hear in your comments and questions below any experiences that you guys have had with smudging or old homes. I know that it's kind of a trendy thing to do photographs and tell stories about the places that you've lived, and everybody has a story about a spirit in the home that they lived in. Even my fiance, who's quite level-headed, I told him that there was a white cat previously on his property because he lives in a brand new home, and he said, to be honest, I think I've seen a spirit of a white cat. And I said, well, okay, that works for me then, because I think everyone has had some kind of experience with spirits in the home, and I think it's really important to transfer good energy to the spirits in the home and to the energy of the home, but it needs to come from yourself and your intentions. And I think it's important to set different intentions for every room in the house. So I'm going to leave you guys at that, and I thank you all for joining me this evening. I'm sorry if there were some glitches, but this will be posted live. I'm going to post a link to some information on pastis, and I'm going to post a photo of the cocktail, and then I can't wait to see you all next time. I do a Facebook Live, and I'm going to leave you at that. Thanks again, guys, and thank you so much to Which Way Magazine for having me. Bye for now.